The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our website, guess what it is? You've got it, xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is SANDREA MOSSES. She's an international medium, but she's also an author. And as I said, she's an international medium for many years now. She has worked in Canada, Ireland, Wales, Spain, and Gran Canaria. She has performed on churches, halls, centers for many, many years. As a medium, she is renowned for her speed and accuracy, astonishing audiences at every performance. Now, she's the author of Vanquishing Ghosts and Demons, and it's a great book. It tells about how mediums work and how SANDREA, with a team of mediums, has for many years removed unseen and unwanted darknesses from people's lives. She's appeared on Howard Hughes' Unexplained TV, BBC West Midlands, Faken Radio Gran Canaria, and also, Spirit and Destiny magazine has written up on her. So joining me now from the beautiful United Kingdom is my guest this hour, SANDREA MOSSES. And SANDREA, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you, Rob. It's a pleasure to be here.
My goodness, how did you ever get started on your quest to being a medium?
When you look back, you wonder how you ever get on these journeys, and it kind of fell together. Opportunities all fell into place. I went to work at somewhere, and I met someone I hadn't seen for about 12 years, and we just ended up doing a journey together,
wow,
which was learning to do mediumship.
How does one learn how to become a medium?
You can train to be a medium, Rob, but there has to be a natural gift there as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can train people to do basic mediumship, which is through meditation, training the mind to quieten the mind so the mind can receive strengthening links with guides. It was only after I started develop did I realise I'd always known these things, and I just assumed everybody else did.
Wow. What was your first experience as a medium like?
My first experience as a medium, I'd done meditations for quite a while with my friend down in Cornwall, and we'd done lots of meditations together, but we'd just gone on fun journeys. And when I went to the Sprucious Church, that was shown how to make the link, I didn't realise what I was supposed to be doing, and I had the most amazing link without realising it. I had this little girl come in, and I was trying to get her out of my meditation, which was quite funny, really. And then when they said feedback, I had to try and get her back again. So I was very fortunate to straight away to have a very, very strong link with the afterlife.
Wow. Do you think that there are more people who have the ability, who just may get a glimpse into what they see or something that is communicated from the other side, that they just put it to a hunch, or, oh, wow, I knew that was going to happen, or, I had a funny feeling that?
Absolutely, Rob, without doubt. People are born psychic. People are naturally psychic. We're naturally gifted, but as we develop, as we grow, we lose it, and we logic. Our worst enemy is our mind, because our mind will logic it out and think, oh, well, perhaps I thought it. It was just a coincidence.
Sure.
And that's how I thought it. And so we often lose this natural, innate ability to help us, especially in our hours of need.
Isn't that the truth? Are you seeing more children or more young people starting to become mediums than, let's say, 15, 20 years ago?
I think children naturally have a gift. I've come across some amazing children and through my work, and still now they never fail to amaze me in their abilities and what they can do. And I think we're living in a more accepting world now, whereas the imaginary friends that they can see and talk to is getting more accepting. And I think as time goes on, we're going to see a lot more children being allowed to be psychic and not, forget it, don't mention that.
You and I have to take our first commercial break. Please stand by, dear. X-Zone Nation, my guest this hour is SANDREA MOSSES. And SANDREA and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break in about 2 minutes as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. For more information on SANDREA, her website is www.sandreamosses.co.uk. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com. Welcome back, everyone. SANDREA MOSSES is my guest this hour. www.sandreamosses.co.uk is her website. And SANDREA, tell me about your new book, Vanquishing Ghosts and Demons.
Well, firstly, I never set out to write a book. I just wrote down stories of. I was actually encouraged by my husband to write down stories of situations that I'd encountered. And that is what the book is about. It's a series of stories of clearances that I'd been on. And Llewellyn to put it together very nicely into different segments. But that's basically what it's about. It's about my work clearing lost souls that have just needed a little bit of help over, right the way through to dealing with demonic forces.
Tell me about the demonic forces, because, there are so many people that I've had the opportunity of speaking to over the years who say, come on, there's no such thing as a demon. It's all in the person's mind. And I say, I don't know about that. Tell me about the experiences you've had that I can tell these people, hey, I had this great lady on the show. Her name is SANDREA MOSSES, and she said, bang.
Possibly there are several demonic forces that I've put in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ones that comes to mind involved a girl of 18. And this girl of 18 would be pulled from her bed, and if you can imagine, her bed she was in a four-poster bed, facing the door with a window to her extreme right, and she would be whipped out of bed, past the bottom of the bed,
wow,
up past the wardrobes, towards the window in a second. She would be physically thrown out of bed, and then could be physically thrown back into bed in exactly the same amount of time, just in seconds. And she would just be ripped out of bed and thrown from one side to the other.
So tell me, how do we explain the forces behind these happenings? The girl who was whipped and pulled out of her bed. How can we explain an invisible force has the ability to do something physical?
Rob, there's a lot in our world that is unexplained and possibly will be. Before, till the end of our lives, we won't have answers to everything. But it's my understanding, what I believe, is that, we have a world around us. We have the astral plane, and we have entities that live on there that should not be allowed into this world. They don't know love. They don't know how to exist in here. They have extreme powers, and when they get into our world, they cause absolute chaos. Somehow, a rip comes in the ethereal and allows these entities into our world. And once they're here, they're going nowhere. They're here to stay.
So, how can we? Well, how can we get rid of them? There must be something we can do that will push them back to where they belong.
One of the things that takes place, and a lot of understanding about dealing with clearances, it is often a psychic battle. It is mind to mind. And if you can have the strength when these entities come at you to know and push them back, and if you can overpower them with your power, your personal power, you can knock them away, you can knock them out of your world. It's when they end up more powerful than you. You can't do that, but you need to seek help.
How different is the real world of demonology compared to that of the Hollywood version? And I'm thinking about The Exorcist.
I don't think there's a lot of... I think The Exorcist was extremism. It was really with the changing the face and everything. But it does happen. It is very, very rare. But I have come across cases, very, very rarely, but where the demonic force has actually physically taken over the person. It's actually somehow managed to overshadow them and take over that body. It's nowhere near as bad as Hollywood. And I've certainly never seen people to the extent of Hollywood, nowhere near. I mean, that's showmanship. But, there are some threads of truth in what Hollywood portrays in films like The Exorcist.
If there is a heaven and if there is a hell, and these demons come from what we have been taught or have been brainwashed into believing as hell, why is it then that people like you are called in to ward off the demons instead of the angels from the angelic realm coming down and fighting that battle? And after all, this is what we've been told has happened throughout history, good versus evil.
I think a medium is the earth link that allows the other side, the angelic world, to do their job. And a medium will be the link between the two. It will be the link between the two worlds. And sometimes life is very, very complicated when we start looking at the universal laws, Rob. And one of the universal laws is free will. And sometimes, whether people have meant to, whether they haven't, people have invited these entities in. And one of the ways is not using an Ouija board properly. That can actually invite something in. If you happen to use that Ouija board in a place where the energy can connect down deep into the bowels of hell, then you're in a bit of difficulty because you've invited that person in or that entity in.
Have you yourself ever been harmed physically or spiritually by a demonic force?
I have been harmed physically. It's usually if I'm caught off guard. If I'm caught off guard, what will often happen is that I will get knocked to the floor. And I will get knocked backwards, I will get knocked over, I'll get pushed. But usually it's because for moments that I've lost and that I've let my guard go down. But I certainly feel that I've been made physically ill through my encounters. In my early days, in my encounters, in not understanding the importance of cleansing and making sure that before we leave at the end of the night, that there is nothing on any of us.
To what end does your own religious belief play in the strength that you have when dealing with demonic entities?
I'm a spiritualist, Rob, which is quite fortunate, really, because we believe in the existence of the afterlife, we believe in angels, and so my religion, I'm lucky, supports we know that the existence of the afterlife, we know we can communicate, we know that guides, so I don't have a conflict with my religion and my beliefs and what's been happening to me over the last 15 years.
Do you find, or has it been your experience, that those people with less than how can I best phrase this, without a practicing portion of a religious philosophy, are more apt to be affected by demonic powers?
I think if you have a strong faith and a strong belief, and you have that strong connection, I think it's much easier to call for assistance, to ask for assistance, to ask the other side to help you, than somebody who hasn't got a strong faith. I think a lot of people, we have a reduction in faith, don't we, in people practicing their religion.
Yes.
That strength helps you. It may not always work, but you've got a better chance if you have that faith.
So how does being a medium relate to banishing ghosts and demons? Like, what's the connection here?
Yeah. Rob, it took me a while to really understand why a medium and why not someone else. As a medium, you can tune in. I can tune in and I can talk to people's parents, loved ones, but at the same time I can also tune in and see the dark entities. I always work with protection. I have to lower my protection to be able to see what it is I'm fighting against. So a medium will be able to I can sometimes physically see, but I can certainly mentally see what that person looks like or that entity looks like that I'm dealing with.
When you're dealing with communicating with those who have passed and have gone to the other side, what do they tell you? What is the other side like? Is it the renditions of heaven that great artists throughout the centuries have painted? Do they socialize with other beings on the other side, or is it basically a very lonely existence?
Oh, it's a very, very beautiful place, Rob. And people will always talk about this utter peace. And they will create the home that they had here. They will often recreate over there with a perfect temperature in a perfect world. Their loved ones, and they will meet up with their mums and their dads. They'll meet up with who they want to. They're not tied to anybody. They're not tied to have to be with somebody because they were married to them down here. And it just sounds always to me like a perfect world, sitting there in complete serenity, in a perfect temperature. and where everything just seems perfection.
How does your understanding of the other side, how does it work with the concept that many believe that we are reincarnated, we come back? Do you get this information from the other side? Do we come back, or is it a one-way trip?
No, I believe that from the information I've had that we do come back, and that we come back,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that we plan our life before we come down here. Not everything about it, but there's certain things that we wish to experience, whether it's being rich, whether it's being poor, and there's certain things that we will set out to achieve before we come down here, and that we will come down, and sometimes we don't achieve that, and I think we will have a life where we may repeat the same experience several times just to try to get out of it our growth and our understanding. We're down here to learn. Planet Earth is a learning experience. It's where we learn, where our soul grows. It grows and it evolves.
You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour, SANDREA, please stand by. Exonation, our guest this hour is SANDREA MOSSES. Her website is sandreamosses.co.uk. And we'll be talking much more to SANDREA about her book, ghost hunting, demonology, being a psychic, and medium. This is the X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. And then the show is repeated in its entirety on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on the all-new DMZ Broadcast Network and our growing family of broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers around the world. Once again, if you'd like to contact SANDREA, her website is sandreamosses.co.uk. And we'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X Zone continues. We're right here from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Rob McConnell, just letting you know that the X Chronicles newspaper is now available online at www.xzonebookclub.com. All past editions and current editions of the X Chronicles newspaper are available for 99 cents. That's www.xzonebookclub.com, and that's 99 cents US per edition. And don't forget, the X Zone store is now open as well for all of your X Zone Nation merchandise. www.thexzonestore.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, aguidinglight, spelled LITE.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
SANDREA MOSSES is my special guest this hour, Exonation. She's the author of Vanquishing Ghosts and Demons. Her website is www.sandreamosses.co.uk. Can you feel evil? Does evil have a feel? Does it have a smell? Does the room temperature really change when evil is present?
Absolutely. There are often many physical symptoms that will show you before you tune in. Obnoxious smells, disgusting smells, like you can't describe. Freezing cold rooms in the hottest summer's day. The room is very dark. You can't understand why it looks so dark. The lights don't seem to be able to penetrate. We did one clearance, and it was a small bedroom. There were 4 of us standing in this small bedroom, and the light was on. It was a 100-watt bulb, quite a decent-sized bulb, and we could barely make out the 2 other people at the bottom of the room. My friend Lynn and I were standing. We could barely see them. That was so dense was the energy in that property that we could barely see them.
What ultimately happened there? How did you clear that?
The first thing that I always do, Rob, is I never go on my own, and I will never tell the other mediums. I will go with other mediums, and one of them has to be a healer as well. I will not tell them what we're up against. I want them to be able to tell me what's there, and then I know we've got it. When they explain to me what they can see, and that verifies what I know, I then know that we've got it. And I'm guided by my guides. My guides will tell me. My guides will tell me where the doorway should be, what doorway I need to visualise, and what energy we need to push through, and especially when it's a demonic force as opposed to a lost soul who just needs nurturing and guiding. You know, we will use our collective energy, our earth energy, and our psychic power to push them through that doorway.
When you look at evil or demonic force, what does it physically look like to you? Is it just a fog? Is it a denseness? Or do you see an actual manifestation of a figure?
I have a video on my website of this one property that we ended up going back to several times with a demon called Jezebel. And a 6-year-old child told me the name of this demon. And when I looked it up, Jezebel does exist. She is a demon. She's a demonic force, and from the bowels of hell. And you can see the video in the stairs and watch this black line just appear. And you can feel almost like sick when you see it come down. And she would either form as blackness. The army that she brought with her was shadow men that would walk across the walls. But when she did it, she appeared as a hag, a dreadful hag with grey skin, long, black, straggly hair, eyes, piercing eyes with slits in them, and rotting teeth.
Ugh. Sounds like the typical Halloween witch.
She was a hag. Is the only way you can.
Wow.
The only way you can describe her is a hag. I also have another photograph of a little boy listening to Mum's tummy. Mum's pregnant, so she's listening to his little sister, and suddenly what appears in between him and his mum's tummy is a claw.
Oh my!
It's a 6-fingered claw, and you can see it as plain as anything. The tips of the fingers are pointed, and I've had to block out his face to protect him, but he's actually looking at it. That child, this little boy, is about 5 years old, can actually see it. And the pictures before, he's laughing to his mum's tummy, and then he gets this look, and he's just looking at it.
When you're doing a clearing, or if you're doing an exorcism, if you're fighting up against evil or a demonic force, would religious artifacts or religious statues help? For example, would a crucifix help? Would holy water help?
I don't.
You're a spiritualist, so you don't.
As a matter of fact, I always wear a crucifix.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do. Yes, I believe in the power of the cross. I mean, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in Christ. And I believe in the power of the cross. So when I do wear, those, and I think I wouldn't use them as a tool when I'm trying to work. But I think for people who are being attacked, that's something to hold on to, and that's something to push your power through to try to knock it away from you is often very, very useful.
Tell me about your most riveting case that you've worked on. The one that, to this very day, has held no candle to that one case.
It has to be Jezebel, the demon that I mentioned, the demon I mentioned earlier,
Really?
and a whole family being attacked. The 5 children being tormented, and in fact, the family had been tormented for several years. They fled one house to get away from it, and she'd found them. And Jezebel had the ability to attack all of you at the same time. So she would separate and divide. And when you're together, when your minds are joined together and you're working as one, you have enough power to be able to come against this demon. But when she separates you by attacking you all at the same time, you're weakened. And Jezebel took several attempts, and I had the children. I don't want children ever in the house when I'm doing this kind of work. And the 2 little ones had gone to grandma's, and they hadn't been told that I was coming or what I was doing. And as soon as the little girl walked into the door, she was there in the house going, "Mummy, Mummy, what have you done? What have you done? Jezebel is so angry. You've tried to get rid of her. You've tried to throw her out." And that child knew what had gone on because that demon had gone to her and told her what he had done. And that demon used to wear 2 faces to her. She used to come as a little girl with little ringlets in her hair, and that's how she got friends with this little girl. And then she would turn into this horrible hag, which the little girl used to say she would take her face off and all bugs would drop out.
Oh, gosh. Why do these demonic entities torment, innocent people?
They don't understand love. They have no concept of love because they come from a world where love doesn't exist. So what they do is just a way of life. And what they're doing, they have one purpose. They have one purpose: to frighten you, because every time they frighten you, you give off energy. And they're going to draw that energy. That energy makes them powerful. It's their food. And so that's why they're going to torment you. That's why they're going to frighten you, because they want to get more and more powerful. And the longer that they're left, the stronger they can become.
So what can people do to prevent themselves from being attacked by these demonic or evil entities?
I personally believe, Robin, I know a lot of people won't believe in what I'm going to say now, is to keep away from Ouija boards. Ouija boards are dangerous tools. They allow us to bridge the worlds. And when you bridge the worlds, you don't know at what point that stone will drop in the pond. You don't know at what point that doorway is going to open and what you're inviting in. And if you're lucky, your loved ones will come through, your mom, your dad, your nan, your granddad. But if you're unlucky, you're going to open the door, and once it's here, it's not going anywhere.
It's not.
No, once it's broke that veil, it's going to be here. It's going to be here to stay. And with Jezebel, she brought an army through. She had an army, and they were like shadow people. And you could stand in the room, and you could watch them walk across the wall in the most sinister way, with their long, elongated legs moving in front of them, their arms moving in front of them, and they would run across the wall. And on that particular occasion, I actually felt one jump on my back.
Oh.
And I could feel them. They're going to go for me because they need to knock me out. They know that I'm the one who's organising it. They know that I'm the one that's controlling it. And I just felt it come on my back, and I felt it wrap itself around me. And this is why you need people with a psychic ability, because the 4 people that I was with that night, one of them, Lynn, straight away said, "It's just got on you, SANDREA." Of course, which I knew, and that they were able to get it off.
Unbelievable.
It is. You when you talk about these, it seems beyond belief. But when you sit down and you talk to a 6-year-old, and a 6-year-old says to you, looks you in the face with such innocence, and says, and puts her arms out and says, and points her finger at you and says, "Never ever play with an Ouija board. They're doorways to hell." How does a 6-year-old even know what the word Ouija board means? How does a 6-year-old even explain it?
That's food for thought. Do you ever call in the powers of the angels to come and help you fight these demonic entities?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Whether it's my own guardian angels that I'm working with, whether it's other types of angels, we don't have the power. We're just a source. We're an earthly connection that can bridge the two worlds, and all we do is just provide that earthly connection to be able to get these people, get rid of these entities. So they do the work, not me. I just do what they tell me to.
So you're basically a representative of good.
Yes. I'm just a tool. I'm the conduit for the other side.
I didn't want to use the word tool because that would mean that you're being used possibly against your will. But you've been chosen for this fight that you've taken on. Basically, you're a crusader. You're a knight for the good side.
That's a very nice way to put it, Robin. I'd like to think I am. I've done this now for 15 years.
My Lord.
And I've never charged. None of the people who come out with me charge. And, I've given up hours and hours of my time to help people who are in distress.
What is the psychological ramification on the people who have had their bodies, their souls, their spirits overtaken by demons, and then this lady by the name of SANDREA, MOSSES, comes in and frees them?
I mean, obviously, it's just, it's total gratitude, but there's so much fear left. Fear that the entity is going to come back, fear that and the mind is an amazing thing, because what it will do, as soon as possible, it will try to help you forget, and the other side will try to help you forget that it becomes a very, very distant memory. In fact, I was talking to a mum only last week of someone that I went out to about 2 years ago, and she said, he never mentions it now. She was talking about her son. She never mentions it now. And that's what you want. You hopefully, they're very, very grateful at the time, but hopefully what's going to happen, you want them to forget.
Why don't the guardian angels come and protect those who are innocent, who they know are being, or they know that they are being, or going to be targeted by demonic or negative forces?
I think they will try and do their utmost. Jezebel, that I spoke about the demon, is that somebody in the family had invited her in. Somebody in the family had invited her in. She'd come through a doorway as a guest, and they can't protect against our free will. The other side cannot take away our free will. But the little girl in the house, she showed me some drawings, and I said, "Oh, what's that?" And she showed me her and her brother asleep. And I said, "Oh, what's that?" And it looked like a four-poster bed. She said, "Oh, it's an energy field." She said, "My angel tells me to put this around me before I go to sleep so they can keep me safe when I sleep."
Why is it the younger children see the angels, see the good in the spiritual world, and why do we forget to see these wonderful things?
It's back to what I said earlier, Rob, is that we're born psychic. We naturally have a psychic gift, and that we lose that in time. And children can see what is happening. They can see what's going on around them. I've got some fascinating stories in my book about children with these amazing gifts. It's because they haven't shut down. They can still bridge the two worlds. They can still remember. And you'll be surprised what very young children can tell you. And parents are totally aghast that the child knows what's going on.
I think many times in this life of ours, my dear friend, that we misjudge not only the children, but we misjudge each other.
I think so. I mean, I think it is so easy. It's so easy to misjudge, and it's so easy not to understand and what is going on around us. I think it's so easy, Bob, to give your power away to darkness.
Yes.
And to allow it to take over. And it's so easy to deny it's happening to you. Deny that. I say to people, how have you lived with this? And I say, well, I don't know really. I say to them, how can you live with these obnoxious smells that you want to vomit, that they're so... It's like every rotten drain you can think of.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I say, we've just got used to it now. How can you live in this cold? You can see your breath. It's August. It's a wonderful, warm, sunny day. How can you live in this cold?
SANDREA, you and I have to take our final break, dear. Please stand by. Great pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for getting up at this very early hour in the United Kingdom to come and join us tonight on the X Zone. It is appreciated.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Exonation SANDREA MOSSES is my guest this hour. www.sandreamosses.co.uk. And SANDREA and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com. Hi, this is Rob McConnell, just letting you know that the X Chronicles newspaper is now available online at www.xzonebookclub.com. All past editions and current editions of the X Chronicles newspaper are available for 99 cents. That's www.xzonebookclub.com, and that's 99 cents US per edition. And don't forget, the X Zone store is now open as well for all of your X Zone Nation merchandise. www.thexzonestore.com. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. My guest this hour is SANDREA MOSSES. Her website is www.sandreamosses.co.uk. And SANDREA's got a new book out. It's called Vanquishing Ghosts and Demons. First of all, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. It's been a great pleasure talking to you. How do you deal with skepticism? Because I'm sure there are times that you've come across skeptics, and how do you deal with them?
Years ago, Rob, I would have argued, I would have tried to get the point across, but I don't tend to do that now. As regards to the mediumship is only going to be something that's going to come into your life when you're in need. And so while life's okay, and it's all hunky-dory and life's great, you're not going to consider anything outside the world that you live in. So you're wasting your time trying to speak to those people. And I know in my heart, I see the fear these people are living in. I see what they go through and the actual torments. So I just tend to ignore the skeptics because there's nothing I can do. That's where they're at. I respect where they're at. I respect their views. But my views remain unchanged.
So you are, beyond a shadow of a doubt, in my book, a light worker. You work with the light. You do positive things. You're out there helping people. My gosh, you told us earlier that you don't make any money at this. You do it from the heart. Good for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's very kind. I'd like to think that I am a light worker. I'd like to think that's the only thing that drives me forward. Sure. And, Paul, Patrick, Dean, Linda, other key members, is to help other people. It's to answer that cry for help. That's the driving force that takes us forward.
What's your final message for the X Zone Nation tonight, dear?
My final message would be to say is that just if you are in trouble and you are in difficulty, seek out a spiritualist church, a spiritual centre, or your own religion. Go and seek help. Don't communicate with them. When that's what they want you to do is interact with them, ignore them, don't talk to them, stay away from them.
And be true to yourself, because as I understand it, after having the opportunity of speaking to people like you and others over the last 23 years, do not go down a path that will lead you to temptation, that will open up a side of you that is usually guarded.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't go, don't go there. Try to stay pure at heart. We're not perfect.
No.
We're spiritual and human experience, and we're imperfect, but we're okay people. We're not bad people. We're not naturally bad people. But don't feed your dark side, because whichever side you feed, that's the one that's going to grow.
SANDREA, it's been a great pleasure talking to you tonight. Let our listeners know how they can find out about you and where they can get a copy of your book.
Well, I understand that it's been launched in America now and in Canada, and I understand bookstores like Pulse, I believe they're very big stores. I remember seeing them when I came out to Canada. They're available in most big stores directly from Llewellyn's themselves, or Amazon.com. Barnes and Noble, I believe, another one that are stocking it.
Excellent. Take care of yourself, my dear friend, and I look forward to the next time that you and I meet here in the X Zone.
Thank you very much, Rob. It's been a pleasure to talk to such an inspirational person. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. X Zone Nation, once again, my guest this hour has been SANDREA MOSSES. She is a psychic, she is a medium, she is an author, and I'm going to give her one more title, a white knight. www.sandreamosses.co.uk, and the name of her book is Vanquishing Ghosts and Demons. I'll be back on the other side of the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.